My name is Ranu Gupta. I am from Bihar, near Nepal border, and I am staying in Bangalore and working as a software engineer. And I secured UPSC rank 536 in CSE 2023 with Anthropology as an optional. And for my Anthropology optional, Nataraj was my mentor. And for coming attempts, also he will.
Thank you, Ranu. Good
Thank you,
evening. How are you doing, man? And congratulations.
Fine, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's great. That's great to see that you have. So, how does it feel?
Yes, sir. It was very overwhelming, and today also so much call, this, that, and in between this office calls. For example, right now I have a client call. I just ended 10 minutes ago.
So technically, you must have been in office when the results had come yesterday, right? Were you already?
So I did not go office yesterday because I know the result is coming. So I was doing work from home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you anxious? Were you stressed?
Sir, I was so much stressed.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why that surprises me is that you were quite confident. Okay. Unlike many students, you were quite confident.
No, sir,
ranks
I was quite confident. Yet the thing is that I don't know. Mark sheet is yet not released, but I don't know that because GS was quite good. I don't understand that why the rank goes 536. So either I was confident that either I was very near, either I will get IAS, or either I will get out of the list. But I was expecting a very better rank than this.
No, that is for sure. Because I'll tell you, with you, one thing that strikes, like what I remember is basically right after mains, you told me that you were very confident, right? So Joe, like based on your preparation, you were able to get confident, right? So execute well. You were able to complete the paper. You were kind of happy. And I remember speaking to you March 1st, right? March 1st is when we spoke. I had just landed in Nepal and we were having that conversation. And you told me that even before the interview, you were feeling, I just sensed that you were mentally in a very good space, right? Wherever you had gone, it felt like, everybody's giving you some positive reviews. And we had some talks about, especially some difficult questions for you, from IT, why UPSC and so on and so forth. But you were very comfortable in speaking about like what exactly is your real experience and all of that. So I just felt you were in a good mental space. March 12th, was it? It was the day when I was reaching at the space camp. I remember that March 12th.
Correct.
So March 13th.
Yeah, March 12th.
Okay, so that means I was, March 11th is when we spoke. I wished you the best, and March 13th, you basically told me that you were kind of happy. I think you were doing your medical.
Yeah, interview was quite well.
So that is why I guess that explains why you are like IAS. No, if you're very confident about IAS, why did you feel like you may not make it to the list? Here, if you can just introduce yourself.
Yeah, sir. My name is Ranu Gupta. I am from Bihar, near Nepal border, and I am staying in Bangalore and working as a software engineer. And I secured UPSC rank 536 in CSE 2023 with Anthropology as an optional. And for my Anthropology optional, Nataraj was my mentor. And for coming attempts, also he will.
Thank you, Ranu.
Thank you, sir. No, because is that I have this feeling from prelims itself.
Right? So it's not based on your. Got it.
Because what I think that whatever the paper I have writing like GS papers and all GS papers are on the similar line. Similar line means same substantiation with example. Every point has example. So it's like a same copy paste kind of a thing with different content. So either they will like and they will give me very good marks because the same format and same good examples and everything was similar on the 4 papers on the GS side. So, and the same thing means that you told with examples, with case studies, same thing I try to replicate in Anthro paper also. So I was thinking either they will like very much and they will going to award me very good marks, or either they will not like at all and they will throw it in the dustbin.
As in it is just a little too uniform, right? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
That, it's like, do they feel it is like everything is the same template? Something along those lines?
No, not like that. There are flowcharts and all, but the flow and the kind of a thing is similar, like point, and then every point example after every point, then point example, something like that. So I was thinking that because this kind of a pattern was followed by one topper, No,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not follow from him. It's not my only.
Mm-hmm.
He got rank 5 in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So my flow was similar like him. So I was thinking that either I will be the least in very good rank or
Mm-hmm.
I will be out.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, generally,
anyway,
a lot of people these days do that, right? So, just trying to back up
yeah, yeah.
most of their statements. Now, the issue comes,
Mhm.
like how many points do you need? How, should you sort of
Correct,
like
correct, correct.
focus on increasing the substantiation components, or do you
Mhm.
want to sort of have more quantity of points and things like that? I actually felt that
Correct,
was your
correct.
strength. In fact, towards the
Yeah.
end, even in Anthro, we were trying to get that, and you were able to sort of like bring that because that was not a natural way of writing for you in the beginning, right? So I
Correct,
think
correct, sir. Correct.
towards the end is basically where you came. We'll talk about this.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a few questions. Okay. So first of all,
Mhm.
congratulations. Right. See,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
one of the main things, and I've written down a few questions on my phone, so I'm gonna look down. Right.
Yeah.
Yours is a very interesting sort of a journey. Okay, and it is slightly a different sort of a journey compared to all of your friends that you must have made during your mains and your interviews and things like that, right? Because you're still a working professional in an IT world, and I would tell you, right? So I do know people who work in IT who probably have a lesser load, but that is not you, right? Okay, so I know that you basically come back in the evening and still you were able to sort of put in 8 hours, right? I remember you telling me that you try to aim to get a good number of hours once you're back, right? So how did you sort of like keep up that? Just tell me about your journey, right? How did your
So
UPSC?
basically, I passed out in 2020 in from BTech in IT from VIT Vellore. VIT Vellore is a college in Tamil Nadu.
Mm-hmm.
So I passed out from that. Then I joined a software development firm. Then I started working from 2020 onwards. There was no any gap in that like sort of thing, and I'm still working. When there is no any gap or no any leave kind of a thing. For example, I already told you, for mains I only take 2 weeks of leave for that paper from in September only. Nothing before that. No leaves in prelims also. So, but the thing is, how do I manage? So,
Like, what are the challenges that a working professional basically have?
yeah,
Because there
correct,
are
sir.
two kinds of working professionals, right? One are people who are basically already in the list. Yeah, they are already in some government sort of service, but that is very different. You can take leaves,
Correct, sir.
right? मतलब वो manage कर सकते हो, right? But this is
Yeah,
very
correct,
different,
correct, sir.
right? यहाँ पे manage करना is
Yes,
a
sir.
different ball game, right? Either you have
Yes,
to,
sir.
look bad in front of your management and
Correct, sir.
your team and be okay to take a negative sort of appraisals के time में, right? So all of those things,
Correct, correct.
or but how did you go about doing that?
So, sir, my in between prelims to mains, my focus was to put 5 days, 6 plus hours in any way. Means
6 hours, okay.
I generally 6 plus hours. So 6 plus. Sometimes it becomes 7. Sometimes it becomes 8 also. Depends on how I'm preparing the workload and all, how I'm managing the things. And that because in between prelims to mains, I only slept 5 hours, around 4.5 and 5 hours mostly. So that's why I able to fetch it. And in the Saturday, Sunday, it goes more than 10, 12, 13, something like that. Means in between prelims to mains, as I already joined with you for the intro, so I've never gone anywhere, never went anywhere. In Bangalore, I never visited. I even you know that I never visited Kaban Park also yet. So it's like that. That means I am working in Bangalore for 1.5 years from last, but I've never visited Kaban Park yet. So it's like that. So the thing is the managed thing. So there are few points that we need to consider. Firstly, sir, yeah, get mentorship kind of thing. Mentorship means like people like you, or for example, I joined a coaching college IS Corridor for GS, means which is a very low in number, low. The strength is low. Means not very 500, 600, 700 people joined them. No, because I try to avoid that kind of coachings because I want a personal one-to-one guidance. For example, I can easily we have a very long night calls at 11, 12 something with you. So my focus was to get that kind of mentorship, personal mentorship. That okay, on the video call itself, my faculty is going to let me that okay, Ranu, you have mistaken this, you have wrong this, you have to improve this. This kind of a thing my need was. So that's why I joined you as well as for the GSIS corridor. Secondly, for a working professional, sir, how to separate the clutter things. Means what is needed and what is not needed. That is the main thing. Many people will laugh at me, but it is 110% true that I have never read Spectrum in my life for the modern history. Yeah, the reason being, I'm not telling that you should not read. Yes, you should read. It's a very good book. The reason being that I did not get time for that. So what I do, I read Spectrum summary. There's a 80 to 90 page coaching summaries I have read that Spectrum summary for the modern history part. So that is cluttering the things. Means you don't have to, for example, for economy, you don't have to read 5 books. Only 1 book and so many questions from test series is very good approach. So what I have done basically for every subject, including Anthro also, that I have already told, and I'm going to explain also, that for example in economics I followed a book called Vivek Singh. Vivek Singh is a faculty of economics. So I followed his book and tried to make a short notes out of it. And I put 50-60 page short notes. And then whenever I do the test, then I will update my notes with the test solutions. So I'm not going to read any other book. No. My updation will be done via the test solutions. Similar approach I put in Anthro also. For example, there is one question on the thinkers. So there is a 120 marks question for one new thinker. I do not remember the exact name of his. The globalization thinker was there in paper 1.
Arjun Appadurai.
So I have never read Arjun Appadurai. But how I got to know about Arjun Appadurai? It is, we have put that name of Arjun Appadurai and it's 5 stages of his globalization, 5 changes, and how the things I have put your points in my notes. Means what I'm telling here is that whatever is in the solutions of the coaching notes or the test series notes of your faculty, try to put that in your notes also. You are not going to revise the test series. You are not going to see your test series again and again, but you are going to see your notes again and again. So this is the updation process that you need to do along with it. It's not like that you don't have to note this kind of a thing in a separate notebook. I don't follow that approach. That many people told that analyze the solution and put the whatever you think put important, put in another notebook. No. Put in the same notes. For example, if I have a question wrong in a parliament section, and I will put that note in my parliament notes only. That section in my parliament, yes, it will take time, but it's a very good process so that holistically coverage will be there. So it's a very good thing. For example, I will give for paper 2 before prelims. I have a 196 page of notes of paper 2. After a test series and after updation that you told me that follow this, follow that. After updation, that my paper 2 notes become in 3 months, it become 400 pages. So that updation is needed. And third and the main point, sir, I believe that you are going to be a district collector, you are going to be SP or any service. You are not a material collector. You should not go and join hundreds of TG channels and try to get PDFs from them. That is not a good approach. Focus on only those channels which is important and only those PDF which is needed. It's not like that you are going to save the PDF and thinking that I will also read this, I will also read this, I will also read this. That's not a good approach, I think. Single source with good mentor and with patience. That is the only mantra for a working professional people. Yes, if you are not a working professional, then you can read many materials. Or for a very good example, many people read IGNU and all for Anthro. I've never read IGNU. Many people follow D.K. Bhattacharya's book. It's a very good book of archaeology, but I've never read this one. So whatever the sources, very limited sources, with the help of a mentor like you, I'm expecting a good marks in Anthro because I got good marks in test series also. So I have no idea about that, what will be the marks, but it was a very good thing that I connected with you.
No, that is wonderful. Actually, what you have done is you've basically shared your routine, some of your strategies, the specific techniques that you've basically used, okay, especially as a working guy. And you've also touched upon what worked for you in prelims. One of the things that you said is that you try to, in fact, when you say this, I can understand this, right? You try to minimize the amount of effort to a great extent. And I think this is not only for a working professional, it is important for a lot of people. Right? Because as a student, you cannot go and do research in every single subject because you're never going to get that point because, you have to be good at so many different things, right? So as long as you can use the expertise of somebody if you can, right? And then sort of use it. Because I remember you telling me that 70 to 80% of your anthropology was done post prelims, correct?
Correct, sir.
How did you?
So actually,
first of all, two-part question here. Why? How come did you what brought you to anthropology? Right. I understand that you come from an IT background, and what was your preparation for anthropology? Meaning that 20-30% that you had done. right? Because I know I have seen that that 70-80% I can agree, right? Starting from how you started all the way till the end. Because just before the
So
session, I was going through your last couple of papers. Usme, I even saw Arjuna Padurai and I had given this, and I remember that old conversation that we had.
yeah,
How you utilize. I guess you did not attempt that particular question.
no, I did not
Okay.
attempt because that was a 20 mark question. If it was a 10 marks question, then I have very good points. But it was a 20 mark question. I know the things, but it will only fill 2 pages. So instead of that, I attempted a computer.
Got it. Now I remember. Yes,
Yeah,
that computer-related question. That got
a
it.
question.
Two-part question. What brought you to anthropology? What was your 20 to 30% that you had done?
Sir, I don't know whether you know or not. My first option was maths.
Okay.
Yeah, so initial first attempt I gave with maths optional, so I did not qualify pre. So what I feel that maths optional, since I am a working professional, maths is a very huge optional and you need revision again and again. Otherwise, you will not able to remember what you have done previously, 10 days ago or 12 days ago. So what I thought that when I got paid in the first prelims, means basically the second, first serious prelims, then so I'm not able to clear it by 3 marks. I got 84 marks or 85, something like that. So from the next day, I changed my optional.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, that it is not going to work. From the next day, I changed my optional. Then I have no idea about anthropology. No one was there to guide me. So there are 2 books, basically from many people that follow till 2021. And I'm not going to suggest to follow now because their days are over now. Akshay Jain sir book and other one Vivek Vasni sir book. So I put 2 books, I combined 2 books, whatever I understand, put the notes just like that. Means cut, copy, paste, I have done that only. This I have done till November and December. Then I was thinking that I should attempt RBI grade B. Means I should go towards another exam. I want a job because the work becomes very hectic in the IT sector at that time because the recession and all was going on. So it was become very hectic for that. So I was thinking I should go. Then I start preparing from January till March for RBI grade B. I'm not touched prelims yet. Prelims was on May 26. Then, sir, RBI grade B date got postponed to July. It postponed to July.
You're talking about 2023 this year?
Yes, sir. This attempt I'm talking about.
Okay, got it.
I'm talking about this attempt. So it got postponed. So due to that 3 months thing, my anthro was not able to prepare. Only 30-40% was prepared till now. So it was not able to prepare fully. So I waste 3 months around it for that. Then I was thinking now there is no option. I have to attempt prelims. Then in 2 months I started preparing for prelims because in 2 months prelims is required. I did not learn the prelims from last December only. So I started the prelims mode from March end in April first week, something like that. Then I got on the 12th June. So now I was searching for some anthro people. So I was following a channel, but the thing is that sir, if you don't know someone, then people don't believe initially that how it will be there and how it will not be there. So I talk with you and ma'am so many times. I think 1, 2, 3 times I talked. Means how the experience will be and all. So that's why I missed first test also. But I covered first test after some test. If I remember, it was biological anthropology.
No, I remember you skipping first test, and then we were always planning, let's just try to go ahead and do that. And I think it happened a lot later, right? Before you moved to FL.
Yeah, but after that, I never skip any test.
No, you did not skip tests at all. I mean, I remember that you put in everything, and even I think 2 tests you discussed, or you went through all the questions and you saw questions that were not part of your test. There are a lot of things that you've done. See, hard work ke bare mein to there is no question about this, and especially as a working guy, putting in all of those efforts, that is just quite a bit.
Yeah. So sir, now for the second question, that how the 30-40% to 100%. So that only happens because of the addition from the test series that you give. Apart from that, I also follow few toppers notes. Because I can't go to a book or can't go to anything. It was not feasible at all at that time during prelims. So I add various things from some toppers. There is a topper called Saloni Goel, if I remember it correctly, rank 78. Her notes were good. Means I was able to understand it in simple language. So I try to add on the many things from my biological anthropology. Chapter 10, 11, 12, I've never read that. Till prelims. Prelims clear, I never read chapter 10, 11, 12. But I add the chapter 10, 11, 12, cut, copy, paste, and directly add to my notes. Then I read from her. Same goes to my fossils part. That's why the diagram was not very good till end. Then you give me the diagram list also.
I gave you the diagrams and all of that, and I hope that you were able to sort of like refine them.
And one thing also I need to add here. Then during August, when August comes, then when many of the tests I have written, then I start not in August, in July only. I have already told you that for what are the things for the socioculture anthropology thinkers part, chapter 6. I have made notes of all thinkers in around 20 pages. Yeah. So
you made it at the end somewhere, right?
Yeah, this I made it at the end.
Because you were asking me, shall I make it for everything so that I can recall? And then I said, short notes will always help.
Then I made it for tribal part also, tribal anthropology also. Then I made it for biological. Means I not make short notes only. Means what I was making for biological and all. That, so for example, biological anthropology, which thinker I have to mention and which case study I have to mention. That only I have writing.
Almost like mapping
chapter 10. Mapping it. That okay, this thing will. Just for example, I have written like that. If communalism thing come, I'll put paper on this thinker. Japanese funeral all apart. If this come, for example, the chapter 3, the Kshatriya, the 4
Varnas
of like Brahmanas and all. So because in this section there are very less number of thinkers. So how I will get? You have put the thinkers in my copy. So I put the thinker in my short notes that whenever this question from chapter 3 come, I'll put that thinker. And same chapter 3 topic comes in paper 2 this year. And same I have put in that. So this, and same I was revising between the gap of paper 1 and paper 2. Only that thing I was revising. Okay, this thinker, this case study, this thinker, this case study. This chapter, this thinker, this case study. That's it.
Because I think that was a challenge. I think that was, my next question is basically what are the challenges? But I think this is one of the challenges that you had. I think initially when you started, you had a very GS kind of style of writing. Right. And I remember most of the feedback that I had given and most of the valuation that I had given is to help you with scholarly integration and that scholarly rigor to add that. I think that was something that was kind of constantly missing in your paper. But, I guess, so I understand this is a challenge for a lot. And I think for you especially, right? So this was a huge challenge. Now I understand like how you were able to sort of like, manage that in 2-3 months because you were mapping. Right. So in this particular topic, I need to bring this. Right. So because especially in those 3 months, you cannot like go through because Hare question may give a lot of these scholars. Right. So in order to remember that thing is not very easy. Right. Especially, when you have like 7 subjects, it becomes so this mapping exercise, I guess it has helped you to a great extent.
Yes, sir. It's I've done for biological one. So for example, in biological, mainly you told me that there are no scholars coming. Nothing is coming. If I remember the sale questions so you told me Robert Hooke can be mentioned. This can be mentioned. For example, in history question, Buddhism and Jainism, you told me Sharma, the history author, can be mentioned. This kind of thing can be mentioned. So
Arash Sharma and things like that, Buddhism, Jainism, right?
So whatever I do, I compile in my there's a very huge notebook of mine. So it contains my mains short notes, my anthro short notes, everything. So I put that in that only. So that everything. Because whatever, I'm not going to revise my notes one day before. That's not possible. What I'm going to revise, this kind of thing should not be lost. And so I will, for example, there's a one question on menstrual cycle related thing in paper 1, paper 2. So I remember I had written many case studies on that, 4 or 5 continuous. It's line by line.
In exam.
But only because in exam, line by line case studies I have written that. This he told this one, she told this. Means that what are the changes after the menstruation comes into the picture, menstrual cycle starts, something like that. So then I have the changes, whatever. This will, for example, pelvis become large. The study of this one in this tribe found that this pelvis become this one. Something means some substance with this kind of thing. Continuously 5 changes and 5 different thinkers. That only come when you revise and put that thinker in a particular way.
See, this is where Because anthro mein there is a lot of things, right? But you can't do everything. You have to understand what is your paper lacking, right? What exactly is it that your effort? So let us say aaj ke liye, let's say you have 2 hours to prepare for anthropology, 3 hours to prepare for anthro, 4 hours, how many ever hours you have. But where exactly is your focus, right? You understood, you grasped it. And I remember, especially in the initial periods, right? Like every bit of feedback that I've given, right? I have some of your papers open, right? Every line by line, you would basically check if you've understood it right. And you would also
Yes,
ask me, like, this is basically what I've written. Okay. This one you have given essay likho. Okay. What exactly is the difference, and why is this better? If I, and I remember, like, you were like, you have that power to basically extract a lot, right? Matlab, you had to. Matlab, time bhi nahi tha, right? So you have
yes,
very
sir.
little
Yes,
time. So
sir.
you really wanted to know, right? So I remember this thing, right? So even while giving feedback, anyways, he will ask me about this. Okay. I'll explain it. Okay, in that, because I knew that you're going to come and ask me and things like that. I don't know if anybody had that much of a observation, right? That detailed kind of a thing, for every little thing. So like every bit that you wrote, you wanted that feedback and you valued that feedback as well, right? And I could see that you would basically incorporate that feedback like quite easily now. But I'm trying to see like what has happened behind the scenes that enabled you to do that. In fact, I just want
Correct, sir.
to just one second. Okay, we'll just come back to this. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that is great. So you basically mentioned this mentorship, right? And I think that could be one of the things that basically differentiates you, right? So you are still a newbie when it comes to UPSC, right?
Yes.
If you look at it, okay, maybe you had like one attempt before this or an attempt, right? But anthro is like still new. Okay, mains is still new. How did mentorship experience basically help you? Like, how did it basically help? Did it help you in saving time? Did it basically help you in finding what is the right thing to do? Is it in finding your style of writing? Where exactly do you believe that it helped?
So I think, sir, the reason for the mentorship is to get a hand holding, and because I'm very new to the anthro, so many things is because I never attended any foundation course or anything for anthropology as an option. And so whatever I read, basically I read, and I was trying to get a guide kind of a thing, so that many things, for example, many things I was not able to understand only, and in a test series kind of a thing, I asked many things, so why this, and this kind of thing was very helpful. And secondly, so since I'm an engineer, so and I also as a software analyst kind of, so analysis and getting the data points from the thing is my work also. So what are the things that is going to fetch me marks? It's not like that I don't have to write gyans and all in all 3 pages of 15 marks or 4 pages of 20 marks. I have to write those things which are going to fetch marks. So how will I get those things? Those things I got from the mentors, from you. That okay, write this study, write this people. That if you are writing in tribal part, then how you can use Malinowski, how you can use Levi-Strauss totemism in paper 2, then how you can use M.N. Srinivas in paper 1. So this integration kind of a thing is going to be how to integrate the things is going to be found by mentors only.
That
You are
basically
going to
helped you
explain
shorten
me.
your time by the time you really
Correct.
got the hang of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Great. And I'll also say, like, you were a very good mentee as well. Like, you were able to absorb things like quite well, right? So from
Yes.
that particular perspective, I think because see, it doesn't mean that you're getting any. I mean, of course, a lot of the pointers are going to be kind of unique to you, right? So what exactly are you missing? You'll be given, but overall ideas are similar, right? You mentioned what can fetch you the marks, right? That is the most important sort of component. But some people basically may not be able to take it in like immediately. Let's say, in fact, like there were challenges for you as well. There are many things that you were able to sort of like take in, especially in terms of adding to the content. I felt that you should not have to do much research, right? आपके पास time नहीं है, right? Most students do not have,
Correct, sir.
right? And you have not spent years on it, and neither should you, right? So whatever you need, I'll basically give you. You just internalize it and try to implement it wherever it sort of counts. You mentioned Malinowski,
Yes,
M.N. Srinivas, and all those kind of things. Yes, right. But one thing that you still found a challenge is conclusions, if you remember that, right?
yes, sir.
And in fact, I was looking, and let me just share my screen just for a second. Here, just give me a second, and I hope just tell me if you can see my screen. So paper one, I think had gone quite well, right? So I mean, generally, I didn't have
Yeah.
any This is towards the end, right? So there you go.
Correct, sir.
If you see this, and paper 2 is something that I think we spent a lot of time in trying to improve. Okay, and this is basically where, in fact, this is paper 2, right? This is paper, yeah, this is your paper 2, right? So 135 something here, and I'm sure that paper 1 was a little higher. There you go. Okay, 144 something. Right, so I've given you overall assessment. I've given you here paper 1 ko chodo. But if you look at your paper 2, and this is basically what I saw. Okay, look at the areas to improve, right? And I remember this is the final straw, right? Everything else I think you had done, right? So if you look at this, statistics, a lot of those things, and it'll help you in actual UPSC exams. Scholarly approach, it's again a strength by now, right? So something that you were struggling with has become your strength. A lot of visuals, although I think some, especially the tools ke liye, I think the baton commandment, couple of things I had basically mentioned that, can improve, but I think you improved after that. I remember the conversations. Good amount of underlining. Presentation has been like just good. Look at this entire thing. Okay, areas to improvement mein. This is basically all about your conclusions. In fact, about so many specific conclusions. The refined conclusion in your, there's the 4th full-length test. Okay, your conclusions are generally good, a lot of improvement. There are a few answers where they could still be improved, right? And I'd given you some strategies, right? So specifically speaking about some conclusions, look at question number 2A. You could try to summarize your answers by highlighting the main points in the conclusion. Example, hence land alienation has resulted in socio-economic marginalization. This helps in reinforcing your points, and so on and so forth. I think, and also so that you could also end with a scholar or a current event followed by a simple, that one-line conclusion that came naturally to you. A GS kind of a conclusion. Isko pehle ye mention karo and this thing. So we literally created like some kind of a thing. In fact, all the here, it is all about conclusion. So how did you find that? This must have been the most frustrating part, I'm guessing. If there is one particular challenge that took you the longest, I guess it's this.
Correct, sir. Correct. It was from paper 1 itself. Till FLTs, and this paper FLT 4 I write in between the a week, means the GS and Anthro wala week may I have written.
Right. Even then you were writing. I mean, this kudos to you, man. And I think you also have like good presentation. Right, so overall good presentation, and in fact I remember you telling me, I think it was this paper, you had already mentioned that you had finished this paper in 2 hours and 52 minutes. Was it this paper or was it final exam paper?
Yeah, final exam paper also have completed in 2 hours and 55 minutes. And then after that I started circling my examples, circling this, boxing my anthropology scholars and all. Like for example, D.K. Bhattacharya, I put a box.
Exactly. We always said we don't want to have underlining for everything. Okay, scholars should have a particular thing. One underlining, double underlining. You had done, and I'm hoping. See, for instance, again Upinder saying, see, most of the feedback that I'd given you again were about like adding that scholarly rigor, especially because this is your paper 2. Okay, S.C. Malik, 1966, Upinder Singh, right? So a lot of these. In fact, B.D. Sharma. Right,
study, Taka committee.
A lot of these studies, yeah. And I'm sure that you have used this because a lot of what you have written also, as you said, you had 196 pages of your own sort of class notes, or not class notes, your own sort of notes, and you made it 400. So that means I'm sure you have basically taken a good amount of what we have given and definitely used them all. Right, I think that's a great strength. Not many can do it so well. Right, and overall, good presentation, good organization. So this is not something that you developed so much post prelims. Right, I think you just had like some basic style of writing. I think that was okay. The only thing is to make you add, substantiate them a little more. Provide that scholarly rigor, provide those examples, provide pertinent wala this thing. And I also remember that after a point you would start sounding repetitive in tribal portions. Right, you had some content, but then after that it basically becomes the same thing again and again and again. So I guess a little bit of value addition. So that is good. Now here, if you look at it, you're already starting to sort of bring in some scholars in your conclusion. Conclusion is basically, a lot of these kind of things I'm noticing. So overall, I think your paper, if it is something like this, I think here also it must have gone quite well. Right, hopefully. See, for instance, debates on Aryan invasion, I think there was a lot more, right? So William Jones, it is more about that linguistic, sort of like aspects, right? So he's basically bringing that. There is Max Muller, okay, now this is the race-related aspects, Mortimer Wheeler, right? So this is the post the Indus Valley civilization to the next sort of civilization coming in Rig Vedic and so on and so forth. Right. I'm sure that even if you were able to sort of implement most of these things, right, and recent sort of researchers, hopefully, and I'm sure that you've actually brought in many of these things in your paper, because I remember you having that conversation with you a lot later. A lot of it was quite positive, right? So in fact, one thing that I really felt is, and I think it is only you who has attempted that computer wala question.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
till
so
now I have not found.
strange
Till
choice.
now I have not found one people that told me that I have attended computer question.
Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting choice. We will have to see. Either it basically puts you like much higher, right? Okay, or we'll have to just essentially see. But overall, I think in what way I would say you have to take a look at your anthro is come what may. I think you will be satisfied with your performance. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir, I was satisfied. But
We don't
I
know
can
whether you're the
improve more.
highest, whether it is like good score, whether it's average score. We don't know. But I think
Yes, sir, we don't.
amongst the students, you are one of the students who basically has definitely overutilized the time well. Right?
Yes.
It was never underutilized.
Yes.
Right? So you actually put in the effort and you worked on it, and there is tons of changes that has essentially taken place in your anthro answers. Here you go, you Arjuna Padur.
Yeah, Arjuna Padurai.
So this is the example. Okay. So you did not know about all of those. Okay, but whatever has been given here, you've essentially sort of taken this and brought it into your.
I only know this about 5 tenets, so that's why I did not take on 20 marks question.
Okay, I had given you this question of globalization, culture change, and since you brought in Arjuna Padurai, I've basically given you some aspects of Arjuna Padurai. Okay. Because see, again, Arjuna Padurai, reading this, I think it would have taken me like maybe 2-3 days of reading, okay, and then trying to come out with the notes and all of that, right? This is not something that you would want to do, because ye kabhi aata nahi hai, right? This till now is only something that you can basically add value. But this time, they basically literally asked you this particular question, right? So, and that is that. Overall, see, again, well concluded. So there's a lot of emphasis on looking at your conclusions. Right. So bio, as you said, right? And I'm sure that your diagrams have improved, because I did notice that skull drawing could even be better. Even better. Right. And I remember even in the last minute, we basically worked on this and so on and so forth. Material culture. Right. I see. I remember. Battery commandment can be better. Right.
Correct, sir.
See, again here, decent conclusion, but a little longer and things like that. So overall, so this is good. But if I ask you, how was your GS? GS, you felt good as well? Because I don't know, I don't remember.
Yes, sir. GS, I felt good. GS, I felt good. SA was also good. So, but the actual command means, okay, how my good was, the actual result can be only compared when the mark sheet will be out. So
true. It is very true, because I don't think we have anything to go by, because you felt good about GS and SA. I remember this because we spoke after that, right? Your anthro has gone, you were kind of satisfied, and I'm also very satisfied that you've utilized the time quite well. Interview also, you were happy. Okay, so I can still see this much 11th, 12th, right? 13th, whenever. Now we'll have to see, but still 500 something, even in your very first attempt, it's a pretty big deal. Okay, it is a pretty big deal. I know that double digits is basically what is your entire aim. That is basically what you visualized. But if you think about this, there are 2,000 people who write with anthro. 536 is still pretty good. Okay, it may not have been the kind of rank that you want, and immediately not be able to.
I understand, but the thing is that from what I'm doing currently, getting in the list, because I was only hoping to get in the list, and why I was stressed, that I told you. The reason because I don't want to work in IT sector.
Correct.
So I was thinking any rank, whatever it be, okay, I will attempt, because I'm going to attempt next prelims also. So whatever I will get it, and I will get IAS. It's more than 90%. I'm sure that it will be there, because I will going to improve anyway and throw more and more by adding more and more things.
No, definitely, and I'll tell you why. Right, because whatever you have achieved, actually, at least in anthropology, most of what you have achieved is during those 2 months. Right, you joined a little later, as you mentioned, but I know, I think amongst most of the people, I think I did spend a lot of time with you. right? I know
Correct,
the
sir.
progress that you made, how you basically evolved, right? So you have done whatever is your score is basically and product, of course, as you said, 20 to 30, 40% might have done previously, but I think a lot has changed later also, right? So whatever you've achieved in a very short period. Now think that, you have a couple of months till your prelims and then again another 4 months, right? Or 3 months after that. I don't know how much time you're going to have if they're going to sort of extend that mains, but let's say 3 months you have, right? So that is still plenty of time and you're going to start at where you left off last September, right?
Correct, sir.
This June you started, in a not a very good position, right? Okay,
Yes,
the
sir.
past June, right? So, but this time you're going to be in a much better position, and I'm sure that you're going
Correct,
to
sir.
get your the rank of your choice, right? Hard work is not an issue for you. Focus is not an issue for you. Dedication is not an issue for you. Completing the whole thing, implementing the feedback, valuing the feedback, incorporating the feedback, all of those things you basically do quite well, right? So again, so I would say that it is still a fantastic achievement. Now, having said this, and because we just started this, let me ask you this question. So now what? Okay, you already have your IT job and things like that. Now you've already gotten your rank, and now I also know that you are targeting that a higher sort of a rank. What next? What's on your mind? What's the way forward?
As of now, sir, the first I will resign from my IT job.
Okay.
I have a 2 months of notice period. I will serve till June, and in between that, these 2 months, the prelims will be there. So I will attempt the prelims as well. Then after that, most probably after prelims, I will write mains with Anthro with more and more sort of improvement. And that thing only I will decide after the mark sheet of the mains. Then this will be the roadmap for the next 6 months. I am saying as of
That's
now.
good. That is good. That is good. And this time you'll have a little more time, right? Even for prelims, once you
That's
put in your notice paper, of course, KT vagara to, you'll have to do. Okay. But, the pressure is not as much. Okay. And this
yeah,
time the
pressure is
mains
not.
period will be not managing, two different things, right? IT.
Yeah, two things. Yeah.
So I think that will also be a great thing. Okay. And again, I think you will be an inspiration to many students, right? I'm going to be sharing your story with most of my in-class students and many other people as well. What is your final advice, let us say, to somebody who is probably looking up to you, right? Maybe they are working, maybe they're not working, right? But what is it that allowed you to basically crack it in that one attempt, right? So what would be your message to the students? You can be as detailed
Yeah.
as broader. I mean, I will leave it to you.
Yeah. So firstly, sir, I think the patience is required. Means patience as in means the answers can't be best in the first test only. It is going to improve day by day and test by test. So that patience and try to implement the feedbacks is necessary. Feedbacks of whom? Feedbacks of the faculty, either the GS faculty or either the optional faculty. So that patience and feedback implementation is necessary. Second thing is believing on the faculty. Means many people will think that no, he's bluffing or he's not telling truth, he don't know many things. So that beliefness should be come from your inside only. That no, what he's telling is fine. For example, I'm telling you, many times that you told me that try to implement every scholar in every paper, means in every page like that. So initially, I was believing means how I will going to launch means 50 pages, 50 scholars, 50 case studies. It's not possible. Means what he is telling, I did not understand how it is possible. But after one or two tests, I put my mind like that. No, whatever he is telling, just put that. You don't have to question. You don't have to ask anything. Just put. The numbers will be there. It's not like that. Means the belief factor should be there, and belief to your teacher or faculty, either GS or optional. That okay, he knows better than you. Simple. It's not like that. You know better. He know better than you. So that should be the second point. Third point, sir, consistency is needed, and the time period means. For example, if you would test on 18th, then you have to attempt on 18th. If you have on 25, then you have to attempt on 25th. Means if a working guy like me can attempt the test on 18th and 25th and 2 and 9, then why you can't attempt? If you are a full-time aspirant or not full-time or working on it. Means that time period is Otherwise, whatever the pile up will be there. There are so much thing that will pile up, and after that, you can't be able to complete it. And lastly, sir, self notes. Yes, you can take help from other notes. You can take help from faculty, but your notes should be there. Otherwise, at the end, we'll not able to summarize the things just like I have done that. I can't summarize the notes from some proper notes. No. I only can summarize my notes. I only can put the case study or the scholar name from my notes. I can't able to find out what others have written. So these things I convey to if anyone is going to take anthropology optional now, or they have already written mains, or they are not able to clear interview. For everyone, for me also, if I'm going to attempt the next attempt with anthro optional, and the same thing, same updation after the test, same continuous test and continuous evaluation, same talking to you again and again. The same process will be. It's not like that I'm not going to follow or you're not going to follow. Everyone has to follow the same procedure with patience.
So that's very good. I think you have effectively summarized. I can go and ask you more. In fact, I'm always very curious to see like how does your mind work? Because as you said, right, the second thing that you mentioned is have trust on the faculty. And I know sometimes it may not be there. Especially, I'll tell you, there are some students who are basically enrolled somewhere else. Okay, but they know some faculty who are my colleagues, or unke bhai hain, somehow they basically bring that. Okay, and can you please just give me some feedback? My exams and so and so. Now, if I give a feedback, that might be very different from somebody else who has given.
Correct, sir.
Okay, and वहाँ पे इतने marks दे रहे हैं. Okay, यहाँ पे ये है वो है. You get the picture, right? So there is that doubt basically comes in. Actually, what happens is in many places it is students who evaluate. Okay, now that is a problem, right? Because sometimes you don't know whether the student is even as good as you. Right. The only thing that you would know is that the student probably has not cleared prelims or something along those lines. So that is, I think, and each time it is a different person evaluating. That is also a problem because even the advice that comes, that could be conflicting. ऐसे लिखो, ऐसे मत लिखो is also something that basically comes in, and that basically confuses, and that is a problem. In fact, even number 3 that you mentioned, that summarizing your own sort of notes or making your own sort of notes, right? I think it was third one. I forget exactly what is the sequence in which you mentioned it. Now, that is kind of important. I'll use a word here, consolidation. Right, because you have studied so many things in those 3 months. Okay, you have to be able to remember that in 7 minutes. If you see a particular question, you cannot think after that 7 minutes when you have supposed to be finished that you have already concluded it. You cannot come back and think, "Arey yaar, wo bhi tha. I can bring this." Nahin, if it doesn't come, then that's it, right? So whatever you have done has not come to fruition at that particular point where you needed it, right? So this is again something. And again, I think the last point that you mentioned is consistency. Actually, I think barring the last couple of tests, and that was I think you asked me, but I just said ki abhi to, I think it is like all good. Just look through all the kind of questions, but you did everything. Okay, the entire sort of process, you went back and wrote that very first test, even if you joined a little late, right? And then you managed. I think all of these, that I think discipline, consistency, all of these. Agar ye pura process karoge, okay, with patience, over a period of time, you will grow. Your answer quality will come. Second test mein aayega, nahi aayega. Third test mein aayega, nahi aayega, right? So in fact, like it's a good example that we showed. Your conclusions basically came up, okay, till the very last exam. And possibly you had the best conclusions in the final exam, not in the mock exam.
Correct, sir.
So that question also, I think it's very, very good advice. So thank you so much for sharing your your advice, your learnings, your wisdom and things like that. And I'm sure that it will be very useful to anybody else who is basically following your own sort of footsteps. In fact, it would be even better. I was a working professional when I was preparing. I think you know this, right? And in fact, I also had I thought of mathematics first. Right, and then I came to anthropology, and I loved anthropology. But the reason why I thought of mathematics is because mathematics mein us din really matters. If you have a headache on that particular day, okay, you cannot, right? So that is not going to be your year, right? So it doesn't matter.
Yes, sir.
Right, so we have a lot of similarities in our kind of journey, this thing. So I'm guessing that anybody else who is working also will be. I think you will be the kind of the right person to go through. इस बार तो क्या करना है आपको? Again, just get through your prelims. Celebrate after your June. Once you're relieved from your work. Okay, but get down to business this time. I think within those 3 months, I think it'll be more than enough. Okay, and thank you again
Yes.
for coming and helping out and sharing all your gyan. Right, a lot of people, especially if they have to write again,
Yeah.
they tend to sort of hold back. But you had
Yeah.
whatever is your journey, you have basically shared it. So thank you again, Ranu, and congratulations. Okay, it is still
Thank you, sir.
a great rank and it is a great achievement. Right, I hope you
Thank
are
you, sir. Thank
happy
you.
and your family is happy, and there is a lot of
Yes,
brilliance
sir.
going around.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I
Yeah.
hope that you enjoy the second leg. Okay, Real Madrid and Man City.
Yeah.
Right, whom are you supporting?
Thank you. The Real Madrid, sir.
Real Madrid. Okay, okay, chalo.
Yeah.
All the best.